Let's talk about FNAF. What a spiraling, crazy, unstoppable beast this franchise is, with its never-ending games and seemingly always on the go with the lore. New books dropping every month at this point. It's hard to read through all of the lore, and that's where I come in. Hi everyone, my name is Owen, and today we are going to be talking about the things that I find in the FNAF books that are mildly interesting, but not enough evidence to call these things theories. In this series, we're going to go book by book, game by game, talking about all the things that are interesting enough for discussion. As for today's video, we are going to talk about FNAF, the Ultimate Guide. We are going to go from FNAF 1 all the way to Ultimate Custom Night. We may talk about FNAF World in a different video. I can't fit all the odd canon in this game into this video. Got all that? Let's get started. FNAF 1. For FNAF 1 being the first game, there isn't really much to talk about that is that important, that really just sets down the ideas for everything to build up on top of. There were a few phrasing things that I think could be brought into consideration about when talking about the newer games. Oddly enough, one of the first things I noticed is that somebody was writing in this book in red ink. Now I know most people are like, oh, it's for the coolness in the book and it makes it more interesting, but due to the last time that there was red ink wrote all over a book, we fans came to understand that it was Mike drawing in the books. On page 10, we can see the Missing Kids poster. Something I notice is that it says local kids. If the timeline is the way that we understand it as of now, we can understand that maybe these two local kids are Charlie and Elizabeth, since these murders are completely separate from the other 5 missing kids. They also take place on June 25th in the late hours. It also seems that this book is telling us that the location of the murders for one of the Freddy Fazbear's pizzas was in a Foxy's Cove, due to the quote of, "Was an out-of-order sign and a working animatronic the perfect place to lure kids?" Which really started to make me rethink the Foxy Go 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 minigame. Lastly, for FNAF 1, we have many different Fazbear locations. So clearly, there are more than one open at a time, and they were probably very spread out. It also points out that this location that we play in is not the only place of murders, and that this one was special in some kind of way. FNAF 2. This game really started to lean into the lore and has a bit more to give us from the book. Not even starting on the Freddy Scoop part, where they go over the game as a whole, we are already talking about phrasing. On the page that tells us about the game, we can tell that these characters go into our nightmares. And it just made me wonder if the withered animatronics, if they're their original or not is extremely up for debate, are what William used to model the nightmare animatronics. Just look how similar they are, I mean, come on. Now, this one's gonna put me under a lot more fire than when MatPat said that Gregory was a goddamn robot, because I'm about to spit out one of the most controversial things ever that has been thrown out of the FNAF canon for over 8 years. I think there is a chance that Purple Guy is Phone Guy. Do I think this fully? No. Do I think that it affects the FNAF canon as we know it? Also no, but it is interesting how they point out on page 15 that Phone Guy could be immortal. Pause from the FNAF 2 phone call of night 5 also has an odd pause on it for previous employees.
Oh, hey, good job, night 5. Hey, keep a close eye on things tonight, okay? From what I understand, the building is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out, especially concerning any previous employees.
I also think that this book outright confirms that the withered animatronics are 100% from a different location. More likely Henry's creations, with possibly the ideas of William. Also think that it's odd that they talk about the purple coloring of the shadow animatronics. But when it comes to 80s video games, I think it's good to note that the shadows were commonly shown as purple, meaning that they could have been shadows. I also think that it could be possible that they were the souls leaving their bodies. There's a lot of different directions for all of the different shadow animatronics. FNAF 3. Yay. Did you get over the freak out about me saying Purple Guy could be Phone Guy? Well, good news for you, buddy. With FNAF 3, it gives me even more reason to think that they are the same. Quick note that isn't anything solid that I think people really forgot about is that the hallucinations are very burned, which would insinuate that they were burned in a different location? FNAF 3 talks about sister location in the old tapes. Which is weird because it is FNAF 3 and it does take place in 2023. Still on the topic of sister location, I think that Beatty could be trying to kill us with the springlock suit that we see in sister location. As Phone Guy says on Night 4, there are many springlock failures at the sister location. That maybe it was a technician that got into a springlock suit or got part of their body stuck in a springlock suit and ended up losing a limb or having a severe failure. As the book also talks about the color of shadowing, we also talk about Shadow Bonnie and how he is agony. Strange, as it also talks about how he is a warning. It makes me think that the anger that comes from the animatronics in the semi-hit mobile FNAF game, FNAF AR, comes from Bad Remnant. Hi guys, Editor Owen here. I did a little bit more research, come to find out the anger actually comes from a glitch that happens in the game. I've never played the game, so I have no idea. I was just making a guess. Sorry. FNAF 4. Now we're into one of the most lore-heavy games in the whole franchise, starting off with something pretty interesting. With the debate over who is talking in the plush to the crying child, the phrasing in the words of the book says that it is clearly someone, insinuating a person, and not a soul. To me, this tells me we know who we are speaking to, and we know that we can put them back together, and that it's not any type of soul that can't physically put someone back together. Another thing is, and this isn't even supposed to like spark anything, why gravel? It just seems so random. Now, to follow up on the next theory, I should state that because this is my first video on this channel, I haven't had the opportunity to talk about what I personally think is canon in the FNAF lore. So, I'm going to talk about who I think we play as in the FNAF 4 minigames and who I think we play as in the FNAF 4 game itself. Personally, I think that we play as a crying child in the minigames, obviously. It's telling the story of how the crying child died. But I think that we play as Michael in the actual game of FNAF 4. There's some type of feeling of guilt that Michael has, obviously, and I think William Afton tried to take a hold of that guilt and prove to him what he did was extremely wrong. Following up this, why does Foxy start as a plushie? Seems like a small detail, but I think it's really interesting. It just seems weird that it's just Foxy, and Foxy's the only one that we ever see become a plushie. Hi, Editor Owen again. I just remembered while editing that Freddy is also technically a plush. He sits on the bed behind us. I still think the point still stands. Foxy seems very isolated. It's also right in front of him in his rooms. Like, it's staring down at him, like that guilt of, here's this mask, here's this symbol of death. This theory, I think, is something that could be canon. Now, do I have enough evidence for this to be canon? No. But it is a very interesting thought that I've had. Does anybody remember the brain that the Nightmare animatronic had? We don't see this anywhere else in this game, anywhere else in this franchise. I have an odd feeling that this is the first time Afton actually started to use the idea of mixing humans and robots. Where he got the brain from, I have no idea. Maybe from one of the victims. Maybe he tried to wire it together to make the animatronic think like a human to scare Michael even more? Could this be early Remnant work? I mean, what does the brain actually mean? We never got confirmation on this. We were still wondering this when the game came out, and I feel like it's something that everybody kind of overthrew, and it's something that I think needs a little bit more attention. Sister location. If you think I'm crazy for thinking that Purple Guy could possibly be the Phone Guy, you're gonna freak out even more when I say this next one. This seems like a very, very off-branch kind of idea for FNAF 3, but I think we could play as Mrs. Afton in the game of FNAF 3. What the fuck, right? Hi everyone, Editor Owen back at it again. I do not believe I explained this theory well enough for it to make sense, so I'm going to explain it now so that we don't have any problems later on. The reason that I believe that this could be a possible branch is because in the Immortal and the Restless show that we see in FNAF's sister location, we see that she burns the house down, and this might be a phrasing thing, but William definitely is housed by the FNAF 3 location, and at some point it gets burned down. So I just kind of fit those two things together. Do I think they fit smoothly? Not really. Does it make any sense? Not really. But it is something that could be possible because everything is possible in the fucking FNAF universe at this point. Another small detail that I think got really overlooked in Sister Location is that this can't be Michael's first time into the Sister Location because his name is on the hand unit with the sticker. Why would he label something he had never seen before? If he just saw it for the first time in his life, why would he label it? What would he gain from that? He had to have had other people he was working with to specify, hey, this is my hand unit, I'm gonna label it Mike, so don't use it. FNAF 6. Now we're in an odd canon area. Ready? Here we go! At the start of the game, we play as Freddy in an 8-bit mini-game, giving pizza to kids. But over time, and as the game progresses, Shadow Freddy starts to show and block you. The book states, a Shadow Freddy. A? Meaning that there's more than one Shadow Freddy? Why is there more than one? Personally, I think the Shadow animatronics have to be physical manifestations of Remnant, and that they can change very small things or even whole animatronic builds. Lefty is clearly our stand-in for Golden Freddy in this game. Because we don't see Golden Freddy in the whole Pizza Sim game, it really makes me think that Lefty was supposed to be our stand-in for Golden Freddy in this game. But in order to get an achievement, we need to put Lefty on a completely different stage. Does this mean anything about Golden Freddy and what he used to be in the old pizza places? Is Golden Freddy retired and then replaced by Foxy, who also becomes out of order? FNAF UCN. Now this one doesn't have a whole lot for lore, but it is closer for the Afton story. We're gonna fly by this part real fast. One pattern that I have noticed is that the early kills need music boxes. Kills like the puppet and Chica being the first official kill that William Afton had, Charlie, or the puppet, being his first kill that was sending him on a killing spree. They need music boxes. Just a weird little tidbit, weird pattern. I don't think it means anything. Golden Freddy is actually listed differently from Fredbear. Why? Is Golden Freddy the Springlock version of Fredbear, and Fredbear's just the animatronic that bit the crying child? Why are these two labeled separately? And why do they look so different from each other? Congratulations, you've made it to the end of the video. I'm hoping that some of these open-ended questions are good enough to get your brains working on some of the old FNAF canon and what that could mean for the future of this series. Now, of course, I didn't cover every single game in this video, as there are many, many more to still cover, and things that aren't even in this book, because this book is older than FNAF Security Breach. If you guys are interested in a part 2 of seeing what I have to say about all of the other games, or if you want to watch me play FNAF Security Breach and FNAF Ruin, you can go check me out on my Twitch. If you liked this video, please like it. It will let me know that I can make a part 2 to this video. Don't forget to subscribe. It's free and it helps me out as a small creator. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next one.